We're going to Italy! Let's prep and pack to go to Rome, Italy. I am going to Rome for a friend. I'm going to Emily Dell's wedding. She is my rave friend of a couple of years, and she's getting married in Rome, Italy. I'm very excited. This is gonna be my very first time ever at a destination wedding. I've never left the country to go to a wedding. I've left the country plenty of times, and I've actually been to Rome before. So this is my second time in Rome. I haven't been to Rome since 2018 though, and that time was with a guided tour called EF Tour. So I was with a bunch of people, and I had a guided host that took me around and just kind of showed me everything. I am going back this time on my own. I am only going to Rome essentially for this wedding. If you're a person like, oh, I would never travel that far and spend that kind of money just to go for 3 days, cool, not me. I'm gonna go, especially because I've already been before, so I have no problem going in and out and only spending 3 days in Italy, and that's fine. Let's talk about a few of the essentials that I'm taking with me. So when I travel, I've learned to travel with a personal item. It'll go under my seat, and a carry-on, especially for a 3-day trip like this. There's no need for anything more than this. Like, I've learned to be a very light packer, and it just helps significantly. I don't lose my suitcase. I have it with me at all times in the airplane, and I do still put AirTag in here just in case, because there has been a few times where I pack this and then they make me end up checking it. I'm not gonna go through every single thing that I'm packing, just some international and regular travel essentials that I think everybody should take with them. For the international listing, you need your freaking passport. Have your passport ready to go. I've done a little bit of research on Rome. Like, it's been a while. I haven't been in a very long time, so I wanted to know what's going on with the current update. I like to film YouTube videos to help people get ready for different types of festivals and trips, and other people do it as well. It's such a helpful tool. I found Anna Goldman's page, and she gives all sorts of tips and tricks for all of her travel, specifically Rome. So I went in there to get caught up with the times. It's been a few years since I went to Rome, so things may have changed, but I did like the do's and don'ts of going to Rome, and types of things that you should pack, things that you should wear and not wear, and just a whole bunch of helpful tips. So one of the things she said is that sometimes the police will stop you and ask for identification. And I don't know how true that is, but she is living there right now, and these are her current videos. And so she's like, either carry your passport on you or an ID, or have a picture of everything on your phone. I'd really like to carry around my passport when I'm walking around a city. I do always have a picture of it on my phone, and I also travel with a paper document just in case, but I am gonna take an ID. It's not my driver's license or anything, it's just an ID that I have. So I'm gonna take that just to be safe. Also, for international travel, you do want to have a converter just in case. Now, a lot of places, if you're staying in a hotel, are a little bit more modernized, and they do come with like USB ports and all that, but just in case, like, I am staying in Rome City Center, so it's a very historic, old place, and so the hotel may not have updated their sockets and stuff. This is what I've been traveling with since 2018, and I've been to all sorts of countries with this thing, and it usually comes in handy. So I am gonna take my converter slash adapter. I don't even know what the word for this is, but regardless, this should help me. Those are the two things that I always take on every international trip with me. Everything else, this is gonna be just every time I get on a plane in general. I don't have a regular sleeping pillow. I use this. It's called a turtle, and it wraps around your neck like a scarf. Let me put it on. Let me show you. And then it velcros over like this, and it just like kind of like lets you sleep sitting straight up in place. Like, this is my headlamp, you know, like, whereas neck pillows, they have that weird gap in the middle, and like, it's so thick, it's like hitting the back of the seat, and it's like pretty compact too. I feel like it doesn't take up as much space as a neck pillow would. And what I normally do is I just kind of attach it, I wrap it around my backpack and attach it like this, and so then it's not taking up any space in any kind of bag. Always travel with a portable charger, and I'm going to make sure that this is fully charged. No good is a portable charger if it's not charged, so make sure that you have it charged. Then I always travel with a little lock. This is easy to make sure that your stuff isn't gonna get stolen out of your bag. So if I want to use it on my purse, then I can. And just to make sure that like I'm safe from pickpockets, like, this is not opening up. okay? And of course I could attach it to any bag that I'm using, so just always have a lock with me. And speaking of bags, so it's a crossbody bag, so this will fit across my body. So my bag is in front of me at all times. Now, if you have a backpack, you just want to be aware, like if you have a backpack, you would want to put the lock on it, but if not, just carry it in front. And I'm just so paranoid about, like, I don't want to get pickpocketed. I don't want nothing stolen from me. So in addition to my lock, I'm gonna have this in front of me at all times. And normally, like when I'm walking through a heavy crowd, like my hand is over this bag. You're not gonna get in there. I don't put anything in my back pockets if I have any back pockets. And then for the phone, I usually have a clutch loop. So like open up your case and then put it in. I can't show you because I'm using my phone right now. Maybe when I'm there and I can show you guys in the mirror, but I use a clutch loop. This is the brand. This goes in your phone case, and then your phone is attached to this cord. Then you would attach it to something first locked, and then this attaches on the outside of it. And then as I can use it as I'm free, because like I'm documenting stuff, right? Like I'm gonna be showing you guys what I'm doing and eating and all the things around Rome. This stays on the purse, it's attached, and I'm able to keep my phone out, but it won't easily get like ripped out of my hands because it's gonna be on a cord. This is the type of tripod that I use for traveling. It's really small and compact, and this is what I use for festivals and everything. So when you put it in, it can either flip to be like horizontal or vertical, and that just also flips the camera what it is. And then it also has legs, and then it super extends. Some new things that I'm starting to implement is I've seen all over TikTok and stuff is like the girlies that do like a skincare routine when they could take these long flights, like 8-9 hours in a plane. So I bought this is like the type of moisturizer that I use every night. So I got a small one, and I'm just gonna make sure that my face is moisturized on the plane. And because I think something with like the cabin air or something like that's not good. So this is something new that I'm implementing. And then I am gonna take these Ollie Sleep gummies. I've had them before and they're pretty good and they work. So I want to be rested. I want to be able to sleep on that flight and then just be able to like get to Rome and hit the ground running and do all the fun, exciting things. Since I am going for a wedding, I am making sure that I'm taking all of my invitations that has like the hotel address on it and contact numbers of like the bride's parents or just something in case I need to get a hold of somebody. So I'm just making sure that I have all of my invitations ready to go, have with me, so it'll be easy to communicate where I need to go, like in the Uber or just whatever. It's just nice to have these in case. So if you're going for a wedding or whatever it is, like make sure you take your invitations. Let's talk about what I'm doing for money. So in Europe, they use euros, and from the United States, we use USD. Most modern places, like in big shopping centers and whatnot, take Visa credit cards. I do have an international travel card. So you don't want to just use any old credit card when you're traveling to a foreign country. Like you want to make sure that it is an international credit card, because every time you use it, you will not incur any kind of foreign fees. If you're out there swiping your debit card, yeah, it'll work, or any just like regular card, it'll work, but you're going to incur a fee every single transaction you make. So make sure you have an international credit card for travel. I read that you do want cash for little things. Like if you go into a coffee shop, it's only going to be your euro. Like the shop owner would prefer you pay in euros and cash than to use your credit card, because then they're going to have to pay a fee on that. So I am going to take out some cash. Normally I just like exchange my cash. Like I'll take out USD from here in my bank, exchange the cash when I land in the airport. And I know people say like that's the worst place to do it, that's the worst exchange rate. I do it for convenience. It's like I'd rather just get the money now. Yeah, I may be losing more out on my USD in exchange for the euros, but I'm also not running around the city trying to find an exchange place, because they're not always the easiest to find. I normally do that, but I did a little bit more research this time, and apparently like if you can find an ATM, it's going to have a better exchange rate. And like you're gonna have to pay a fee because you're pulling out from an ATM, but you're still getting more value for your dollar. Like you're not losing as much USD for exchanging it into euros. So I do want a little bit of cash. I'm just gonna wait until I get to Rome and find an ATM. And USD and euros are fairly similar, so normally I really don't freak out too much about the currency exchange or the converter rate, but I do use this currency exchange rate app. When I'm traveling in places like Asia where I just have no idea what I'm spending is when I use normally like this. Probably won't use it so much in Italy, but just in case, this is my favorite exchange rate app to use. It's pretty accurate and it gives you like what you're spending and it's easy to figure out. So go ahead and download this and it's free. Accommodations. So I'm going for a wedding. Hotel is a venue. So wherever the wedding's being held, we can also stay there. So thankfully the wedding party, that's all been not provided like financially, but all the details and info have been provided on that. And then I am going to spend a single day by myself in Rome because the wedding festivities start on Friday, then the wedding is actually Saturday. I'm leaving the United States on a Wednesday. I arrive in Rome Thursday. I just wanted to get there a day early just to like be there and settled. So I'll spend a full day by myself in Rome city center. So I went and booked a one-night stay in a hotel, and I will show you which hotel that I'm staying at once I get there. How I determine where I'm staying in a place like this, like I have never had to book my own stay in Rome. Like, where am I gonna stay? Like, I normally narrow it down to a neighborhood, so I know I wanted to be like in the action of everything. And even though I don't plan on like going inside the Colosseum or seeing all those big touristy attractions, I still want to be in that general area because I know like there's gonna be a lot of stuff to do and eat and see there, and I want to be able to walk it all. I also had like a criteria. I wanted a hotel with a rooftop. I just love when hotels have rooftops and then you have a beautiful view of the city, and rooftops normally have like the bar and a restaurant or something like that. So I narrowed it down to rooftop hotels in this certain area that I wanted. I always read reviews. I don't just like blindly go into it. I am past the point of booking like the cheapest hotel out there, so I don't do that either. I'm also not just like balling out and spending a ton of money, but I'm okay spending a little bit of money. Like, this is gonna cost me, I think once it's converted and the fees, like maybe $140 to $150 one night for one person, but it's in a great location. The reviews are excellent. It's a 4-star hotel. There are some good amenities. And so I'm willing to spend a little bit of money for a good experience. As far as transportation goes, on Anna Goldman's videos, she said that use Uber. Like, when I get to the hotel, use Uber. And that's essentially what I do in most countries that I get to. I just use Uber because every freaking country that I visited has Uber. Egypt has Uber, Colombia has Uber, all of Europe has Uber. So in general, like, I just use Uber, knowing that a local recommended use Uber when you're leaving the airport to get to the city center. So cool, that's what I'm gonna do. And then once I'm in the city center, I don't really plan on traveling too much, so I'm just gonna walk as much as I can. But I know that there is like the metro system, so if I want to do that, I will show you guys what I end up doing and how I navigate. But for the most part, I'm just gonna take the Uber from the airport to Rome city center, and then when I need to go to the wedding venue / hotel, I think that's like an hour outside of the Rome city center, so I will take another Uber as well. And then from there to go back to the airport, I will take another Uber. I haven't taken European Ubers in a very long time, so I don't know what the cost is like, how comparable it is to the United States. We will see. I'll let you guys know. When it comes to the language, I always try to prep as much as I can, especially if I know that it's not a predominantly English-speaking country. I try to learn a few phrases just to get by, and it's respectful. Like, you don't want to go into a place, and I've said this so many times in many other videos, it's like, you don't want to go into a place like, do you speak English? Like, come on, you can at least learn to say, do you speak English in the native language? Like, what comes to my head right away is saying it in Brazil. In Portuguese is, você fala inglês? That is, do you speak English? And it is so helpful and just a lot more respectful. In that case, like, I'm learning how to say that in Italian, and a few other basic things, like learning the proper way to say hello and goodbye. Like, your first thought may be like, why don't you just say ciao? Apparently, ciao is more for like intimate people that you know, where you like say ciao and give them the kiss on the cheeks and all that. But if you're walking into a shop and you don't know anybody, you would want to say like buongiorno or buonasera, like depending on the time of day. So that's just more appropriate for people that you're not close with, you know? So little things like that. So I do have this, I took a picture of like this like little cheat sheet that I'm going to review like in the airport and planes on there. But obviously I'm not going to remember all this. So when all else fails, use Google Translate. This has come in clutch for everything everything, and it'll translate everything. You're able to type in as much as you need to, and then it can play it back to you. Like, so say if you're like in a cab and you're with a person that doesn't speak any English, like you could type in there completely, and instead of having them read it, you can just play it out loud and it'll play the whole thing in Italian, and it's just super helpful. So that's how I get by with the language barrier. So I am going to be alone for one full day in Italy, and I'm traveling alone. This is not my first rodeo. I've traveled alone plenty of times. We're gonna go over some things that I do that I take for every solo trip, whether I'm in the United States or I am abroad. So a few things that I do before I go is, for one, like my mom always has my location on, like just in case. So my mom has my location, so does my brother. A few people have my location, so I'm being tracked at all times. I will also, before I go, give my mom like my flight information and then the hotel information, where I'm gonna be staying in Italy. So I'm gonna send her the hotel that I'm staying by myself, and then when I am at the wedding venue, and then when I am by myself, I communicate with her quite frequently. Yes, we're on different time zones. She may not always answer right away, but I just want her to know like when I'm coming and going from the hotel at all times, so she just knows that I'm okay. I do post a lot on TikTok and Instagram, specifically on Instagram in real time on stories. So I always tell my friends and my followers that if you know I'm on a trip and you know that I'm not traveling to or from, and my stories disappear or I go radio silent after like 10 or 15 hours, something's not right, because I do post quite frequently of everything that I'm doing. So that's always another telltale sign that something may be awry. That is all my pre-prep stuff. I'm not gonna show you everything that I am packing that I'm gonna wear, because I'm gonna show you guys that when I'm actually in Italy. Just wanted to show you guys kind of what I do and pack and prep for an international trip or a trip in general. What's to come is like my experience in Rome for a full day by myself, and how I navigate the city, what I'm doing, what I'm eating, and more tips and tricks on what I do to keep myself safe as a solo female traveler. And I'm gonna show you like the hotels that I'm staying at and the venues, just all the things that I'm doing. So let's go to Italy.